Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been waiting on your green card or visa approval, you might want to sit down for this one, because after years of delays, long processing times, and endless uncertainty, there's finally some real movement happening. Yes, you heard that right. Green card and visa backlogs are finally moving in 2025, and this could mean life-changing news for thousands of people just like you. For so long, we've seen families stuck apart, careers put on hold, and dreams delayed because of massive immigration backlogs. But recently, new updates from USCIS and the Department of State suggest a serious shift. We're talking about faster processing times, changes to priority dates, and a renewed focus on clearing those huge visa queues that have frustrated applicants for years. Whether you're waiting on your employment-based green card, a family petition, or a student or work visa, this year's immigration update might finally give you the breakthrough you've been hoping for. Now, I know a lot of you have been feeling exhausted by the system, the waiting, the silence, the confusion over timelines. You're not alone. Every week, I get messages from people around the world asking, is there any hope for 2025? Well, the short answer is yes, but there's a lot you need to understand to make the most of these changes. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We'll break down what's really happening with the green card and visa backlog, who benefits the most, and what steps you can take right now to stay ahead of the curve. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's go through this together, because this might just be the update you've been waiting years to hear. Before we jump in, if you're excited to finally see some progress and you want to stay updated on every immigration change that matters, hit that like button. It really helps support the channel and keeps you in the loop for future updates. Alright, so let's dive right in. You've probably noticed that for years now, green card and visa processing has felt like an endless waiting game. People have been checking their case status every morning, refreshing those USCIS pages, hoping for that one magical update that says case approved. But up until recently, it's been like shouting into a void. Nothing seemed to move. And then suddenly, 2025 hit differently. Something actually started shifting. So what's going on? Well, the truth is, both USCIS and the Department of State have finally recognized that these backlogs have reached a breaking point. For too long, there's been a growing pile of applications, millions of them, just sitting there, waiting for review. This year, though, there's been a new wave of administrative changes, digital upgrades, and staffing increases that are finally making a visible difference. That's why you might have heard from friends, or maybe even seen online, that people are suddenly getting updates after months or even years of silence. It's not just a coincidence, it's part of a larger, intentional effort to get the system moving again. Now, let's talk numbers for a second, because this is where things start to get real. In the first half of 2025, USCIS reported a noticeable drop in pending employment-based green card cases. We're talking tens of thousands of applications that have finally been processed. Family-based petitions are also seeing faster movement, especially in categories that were completely stuck during the pandemic years. You might remember how some embassies were still recovering from those closures, but now they've caught up. In fact, several consulates have reported they're scheduling more interviews per month than at any point in the last 5 years. That's huge progress. And the reason behind it isn't just political pressure. It's also a response to the real stories of people who've been waiting. Lawmakers and immigration advocates have been pushing hard, sharing how families have been split across continents, how employers can't hire essential talent, and how students have been left in limbo, unsure if they can even stay in the country they've built their lives in. These stories hit home for a lot of people. And it seems like this year, those voices finally reached the right ears. But let's be honest here, while progress is happening, it's not the same for everyone. Some categories are moving faster than others. For instance, if you're in an employment-based category like EB2 or EB3, you might be seeing movement already, especially if your priority date is within a certain range. Family-based categories are also making progress, but there's still a bit of a lag, particularly for countries with higher demand like India, Mexico, and the Philippines. Still, compared to the standstill we saw in 2022 and 2023, Things are finally moving in the right direction. What's really encouraging, though, is the change in tone from immigration officials themselves. For the first time in years, they're acknowledging the delays publicly and outlining clear goals for improvement. We've seen new commitments to transparency, faster interview scheduling, and even the use of technology, like AI-driven case management, to speed up reviews. They're experimenting with electronic visas, digital forms, and interagency data sharing so applications don't get stuck in one office for months on end. It's not perfect yet, but it's progress. Now, I know some of you are thinking, that all sounds good, but what does it mean for me? And that's the right question, because every case is different. What you should take away from all this is that 2025 is the year to stay alert, stay proactive, and make sure your paperwork, your documents, and your contact information are all up to date. If your case has been sitting idle for too long, this might be the perfect time to reach out to USCIS, your attorney, or your local congressperson's office to see if there's any movement or updates you've missed. Something else that's been helping applicants lately is being active about checking the Visa Bulletin each month. You'd be surprised how many people discover that their priority date suddenly became current, and they didn't even realize it. The Visa Bulletin is like a monthly roadmap for where immigration cases are heading, and in 2025, it's showing more movement than we've seen in years. It's especially exciting to see categories that were previously frozen finally open up. And speaking of exciting developments, let's talk about the tech upgrades happening behind the scenes. USCIS has been rolling out new digital tools for case management that allow faster file transfers between offices and fewer manual errors. These might sound like small changes, but they can make a massive difference. Imagine a world where your case doesn't sit on a desk waiting for a physical file to be mailed. It's uploaded, reviewed, and moved along automatically. That's where the system is headed, and it's long overdue. We're also seeing stronger coordination between the Department of State and USCIS when it comes to allocating visa numbers. In the past, thousands of visas went unused simply because of miscommunication or slow processing. This year, the agencies have promised to make sure every available visa number is used. That means fewer wasted opportunities and more people finally moving forward in their immigration journey. Now, if you've been watching your case closely and you start seeing little signs of progress, like case actively being reviewed or interview scheduled, don't ignore those. They're small steps, but they're signs that the system is working again. And if you're still waiting with no movement yet, don't lose hope. The momentum we are seeing now is just the beginning, and as more backlog reduction programs kick in, more categories will open up. It's also important to remember that behind every case number is a real person, a real family, and a real dream. That's what keeps this topic so emotional and so important. Whether you're hoping to reunite with loved ones, secure a job, or finally call the United States your permanent home, you deserve a fair and timely process. And that's exactly what these new 2025 updates are aiming to deliver. For the first time in a long time, the system feels like it's starting to remember that immigration isn't just paperwork, it's people's lives. If you're feeling inspired by this progress and want to stay informed about the next big updates, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'll be covering all the latest announcements as they happen, including when new visa bulletins are released and when USCIS publishes fresh data on backlog reductions. Trust me, you don't want to miss those, because timing is everything when it comes to immigration. And while we're on the topic, let me say this. I know how hard it's been for many of you. I've read your comments, I've heard your stories, and I understand that waiting for something so important takes a toll emotionally and financially. It's exhausting. But seeing this movement in 2025 is a reminder that persistence pays off. The system might be slow, but it's not stagnant anymore. Change is happening, and you're part of it. So don't give up hope. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay connected. As we go deeper into the year, we'll likely see even more encouraging signs, new policies, updated visa quotas, and maybe even some reforms to make the process simpler and faster for everyone. There's still a lot of work to do, but compared to where we were a few years ago, this feels like the beginning of something better. So, if you found this video helpful or you just feel encouraged knowing that progress is finally being made, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people see it, and it lets me know you want more updates just like this. And of course, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear where you are in your immigration journey and whether you've noticed any changes in your case lately. All right, my friends, that's where we'll wrap it up for today. But remember, 2025 is shaping up to be a year of progress, not waiting. The gears are turning, and for once, it feels like the system is catching up to the people. Keep your hopes high, your documents ready, and your eyes on those updates, because your moment could be closer than you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.